One of two Chinese Communist Party aircraft carriers, the Liaoning, was sighted off the coast of Hainan Island, leading some to speculate the carrier's positioning was intended to display the People Liberation Army Navy's PLAN power. For reasons unknown, the steam-powered Liaoning stayed in its position for more than a day. The US Navy released a photo showing one of its guided missile destroyers, the USS Muston, shadowing the PLAN's aircraft carrier strike group in the East and South China Seas. The photo was released on April 12 and showed the ship's captain, Commander Robert J. Briggs, and his deputy commander, Richard D. Sly, watching the Liaoning from only a few thousand metres away. Both countries had deployed aircraft carrier-led strike groups to the East and South China Seas. Some Chinese netizens mocked the PLAN, saying the Liaoning had become a checking point for the US military. A little bit worried about the Navy soldier? Is he still okay? This seems to be a medical ship of the Chinese Navy. The aliens already came in the form of coronavirus, but instead of working closely together. China's new Coast Guard law, which authorises the PLAN to fire on foreign vessels, had increased tensions with Japan. According to a report, Japan also dispatched a naval destroyer to gather information on the PLAN's movements and to track the Liaoning. Many netizens passed comments on Twitter. A Twitter account named Dr. Bo commented, "Nevertheless, the CCP media, including the Global Times, are still proud of it." Some netizens commented on the CCP's first aircraft carrier, saying, "My God, didn't the Liaoning find it?" Chinese websites are running ads promoting Uyghur labour in batches of 50 to 100 Uyghur workers. Uyghur workers are being advertised and sold as slaves on the Chinese internet, and Baidu, the successful firm, hosts the main job proposals. Sky News reported the evidence of Chinese online advertisements on April 16. Baidu has not replied to requests for comment on the repudiated facts. The ads declare that Uyghur workers from Xinjiang who work elsewhere are under strict political and social controls, and the government will guarantee the workers' safety. According to human rights group, such semi-militant controls amount to forced labour, they warned. Xinjiang, China, is home to 10 million Turkic-speaking Uyghurs. The Australian Strategic Policy Institute reported that during 2017 and 2019, the Chinese Communist Party incarcerated between 1 million and 3 million Uyghurs into state-run labour camps in the far west region of Xinjiang, with some sent to factories across China as labourers. According to the Chinese regime, the 2019 five-year plan run by the Xinjiang government is an official labour transfer program, so as to provide more employment opportunities for the surplus rural labour force. The CCP maintains that such camps are for vocational training, and the political education centres are for drawing the Sunni Muslim group away from extremist behaviour and instilling reform through labour communist ideology. Recently, BBC reported that several former detainees underwent or witnessed organised arrangements of mass rape, brutal sexual abuses and torture. Detainees and former employees of the Uyghur camps in Xinjiang said they suffered appalling labour conditions at the facilities, followed by murders and a systematic system of forced sterilizations and abortions. The CCP continues to deny that it is conducting an elimination of Uyghur identity and that the tag of genocide is the lie of the century. A testimony recently signed by 5 religious leaders affirmed that the clear aim of the Chinese authorities is to eradicate the Uyghur identity. China's state media has stated that the goal is to break their lineage, break their roots, break their connections, and break their origins. High-level Chinese government documents speak of absolutely no mercy. Parliamentarians, governments and jurists have a responsibility to investigate. Sky News reported from China that when journalists approached several factories that were allegedly using Uyghur slave labour, the authorities wouldn't allow them to enter the premises. CCP police interrogated the journalists before they were ordered to leave immediately. Federal officers at the Houston seaport had intercepted a shipment of counterfeit N95 respirator masks with an approximate retail price of nearly $350,000. When the shipment arrived at the Houston seaport, US Customs and Border Protection (CBP) officers found 171,460 masks in boxes infringed with the logo of the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, a US federal agency responsible for making recommendations to prevent work-related injury and illness. When contacted, the trademark holder informed the CBP officers that the shipment was not licensed. Shipments of the mask were proceeding to White Plains, New York, before CBP officials intervened on April 7th, according to a release. N95 masks are used widely for protection from the spread of COVID-19. Customs officers said counterfeiters have recognised that the demand for personal protective equipment remains high. In the first 3 months of the calendar year 2021, CBP confiscated 18 million counterfeit face masks. In the Houston area alone, CBP has seized 2.1 million fake face masks from January to March of this year, an increase of 365,000 counterfeit face masks confiscated in all of 2020. Counterfeit goods not only hurt the competitiveness of US manufacturers, but they also pose substantial health and safety hazards for American consumers. Houston CBP Port Director Roderick Hudson said in a statement, "In this instance, these counterfeit N95 respirators may not be effective at filtering airborne particles." Hudson cautioned consumers to be vigilant for counterfeit and unapproved items. A few simple steps that consumers can take to protect themselves from becoming unsuspecting victims to those peddling counterfeit goods are to purchase goods only from reputable retailers. And when shopping online, read the seller's reviews, check for a working US phone number and a US address that can be used to contact the seller, he added. Customs and Border Protection said that the confiscated masks were handed over to the Fines, Penalties and Forfeiture Office for final disposition.